This word is forced. Let's say that together. Forced. Forced is when someone or something is made to do something. Let's say that together. Forced is when someone or something is made to do something. This word is tiny. Let's say that together. Tiny. Tiny means very, very small. Let's say that together. Tiny means very, very small. The title of the book is Harriett Tubman, Follow the North Star. It's a nonfiction book that tells real facts about Harriett Tubman's life. The author is Violet Finley because she wrote the words. The illustrator is Marcy Ramsey because she drew the pictures. Let's look at the pictures first and see if we can figure out what's happening. I bet this is Harriett Tubman. What is happening here? What are these people doing? Who are these people? What is the girl doing? What is happening? What is happening? What is this woman doing? What's happening here? What is this picture showing? What's happening here? What are these people doing? What is happening here? Who is this woman and what is she doing? Alright, now that we've looked at all the pictures, let's read the words and learn more about Harriett Tubman. Harriett Tubman stood just 5 feet tall. She could not read or write. Even so, she helped hundreds of African Americans lead lives of freedom. Let's learn about this amazing woman. Harriett Tubman lived from about 1820 to 1913. Harriett Tubman was born around 1820 in Maryland. In those days, some people in the South had slaves. Harriett was a slave. So were her parents, brothers, and sisters. Harriett did not know the year she was born. Slaves' birthdays were not written down. Slaves were owned by white masters. They had to cook, work on farms, and do whatever their masters said. Slaves were not paid. They could also be sold away from their families at any time. People were taken from their homes in Africa. They were forced to be slaves in America. This was wrong. Little Harriett and her family lived in a log cabin with a dirt floor. Their tiny home was on the land of their master's big farm. As a child, Harriett only had one dress and no shoes. Harriett never went to school. Instead, she worked like a grown-up. She cared for a white family's baby and cleaned their house. Later, she worked in the fields, carried water, and chopped wood. Harriett was very strong. One morning, a slave ran away. A white man threw a heavy object at the slave to stop him. Harriett was in the way, and it hit her on the head. She was badly hurt and became very sick. Harriett's mom nursed her back to health, but Harriett was left with a huge scar on her head. The experience made Harriett decide that someday she would run away too. Harriett was sick for a long time. That day came in 1849. As the sky grew dark, no one saw Harriett sneak into the woods. She headed to the northern states, where there was no slavery. Harriett followed the bright North Star. It showed her the way to the northern states. The Underground Railroad helped Harriet along the way. This was not a railroad with trains. It was a way that slaves ran away to freedom. People secretly hid the slaves, gave them food, and told them which way to go. Sometimes slaves hid in houses as they traveled on the Underground Railroad. The trip was long, cold, and dangerous. The woods were very scary, but brave Harriet made it all the way to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This map shows where Harriet traveled. Harriet had finally reached the North. She was free. At last, nobody owned her. Nobody could tell her what to do. Harriet got a job in a hotel. She used the money she made to help other slaves run away. During her life, she made many trips down south. She led more than 300 people to freedom in the North. Slave owners offered a lot of money to capture Harriet, but she never got caught. "I was a conductor on the Underground Railroad for 8 years," she said, "and I never lost a passenger." People who escaped on the Underground Railroad were called passengers. People like Harriet, who helped slaves travel on the Underground Railroad, were called conductors. Harriet fought slavery in other ways too. During the Civil War, she helped the North by spying on the South. She also worked as a nurse. Harriet cared for soldiers hurt in the war. In 1865, Harriet's biggest dream came true. Slavery finally ended. Harriet died at the age of about 93, but her heroic spirit still burns as bright as the North Star. Let's say this word together. Forced. Forced is when someone or something is made to do something. On this page of our book, it tells us that slaves were forced to work. That means they were made to work. We could use the word forced another way. We could say, "My mom forced me to clean the dishes." Let's say this word together. Tiny. Tiny means very, very small. On this page of our book, it tells us that Harriet's home was tiny, or very, very small. We could use the word tiny another way. We could say the stars in the sky were tiny spots.